All right, all right. We're gonna roll this clip by Myron Golden explaining the HELOC play. This play is for people who have 20% or more in their home, who have at least 20% equity or more. You can do 15, you can do 20%. I always say at least start with 20%. You want to pay down this mortgage as fast as possible. So let's roll the clip.
You take your entire paycheck, you deposit it into the home equity line of credit to pay down your mortgage. You then write all of the checks for your bills out of the home equity line of credit. You use money from your home equity line of credit to pay your mortgage, your electric bill, all your other bills. You will pay off your mortgage, depending on how much money you make, in somewhere between 3 and 12 years instead of 30 years. Whatever you do, don't ever refinance a mortgage. Refining a mortgage to get a lower payment is a con job. They tell you, the bank tells you, the storyline they give you is that, well, you get a home equity line of credit to lower your payments, but you buy into that. But what they know that they're not telling you is when you refinance that mortgage, you restart the terms of the loan. So now it's a new 30 years, and the majority of the payments for at least the first 7 years goes to interest. So you're going to end up paying more at a lower interest rate with a lower payment on a refi than you would have ended up paying the bank if you had just kept on making the same old mortgage
All
payment.
right, now I have my notes here, so if you see me reading, I always have my notes. Um, and like I said, so you want to have at least 20% when you are doing HELOC play. This is another, some people might call this velocity banking. Do your research on velocity banking. By all means, do your research anytime that I am giving you information. Because if you're taking my word for it and you're not doing your research, guess what? You're doing yourself a disservice. It's always good to do research. So let's get into the play. Let's get straight to it. So you need to have 20%. You can do 15%, and you might even be able to do it on a lower percentage. So first, 15, 20%. Secondly, you need a 680 because when you do take out home equity line of credit, which is a HELOC, they will do a credit check. So you're going to end up going into whether you're at a credit union or you have a nice bank that you bank with, or you're going to go to your bank um, and just explain to them what you want. If you want to take out money from your home, you want a home equity line of credit. Do not take out the loan because the loan is completely different. The loan is something completely different. I always advise people take out a home equity line of credit because the home equity line of credit acts like a credit card. And if you are disciplined, then you can keep doing this play over and over again. So first step, 15 to 20%. Second step, 680 credit score. The third step is you need to have a little bit of cash flow. You need to have some cash flow. Let me turn my mic down. So if you have some cash flow, you don't have to worry about not being able to do this play. But if you're going from paycheck to paycheck, I want you to find something that can generate. I don't care if it's maybe doing 1 to 2 days of DoorDash or Uber Eats, have some cash flow. I know it's probably like, oh, I don't want to do this, or just find some way where you can make some more cash. We have to be creative. We cannot pass on assets that we own, have our kids inherited debt. That was the point of the whole video I dropped the first time, and they did good. Great numbers. You want to always pass on things to your kids scot free. So you don't want them to inherit your debt because it becomes a generational thing. And if you're not teaching yourself, you can't teach them, and then they can't teach their children, and so on and so forth. So, step one, 20%, 15 to 20%. Step two, 680 or up with credit. Step three, you need to have monthly positive cash flow. Now, step four, you got to be financially disciplined. So when you do this play, you're going to have to sacrifice going out. You're going to have to, if you're going to the movies, to the club, wherever you're going. If you're going to the club, ain't nothing at the club. It's always problems. I don't even can't, can't stand it. I'm so glad I wasn't that type of person. You save so much money when you stay home. If you got Netflix, If you're using someone else's Netflix account, hey, you know, that's a step up, but you have to be financially disciplined. So eating out, maybe cook more at home. Maybe miss out on those Jordans. Maybe, don't buy any designer bags. If you can afford designer bags, then you definitely can run this play. Anything that you feel like is a bad habit and is above your means of lifestyle, then you need to sacrifice and you need to dim down on. I'm not saying you can't do it, but maybe for a year, maybe for a couple of months, because this play is only going to be, it's going to run you about at least 9 months to 12 months. So basically, it's a year. So financially disciplined, and then you need to understand that HELOC, their interest rates can vary. So once you understand that, and once you run this play, you're always going to be looking out for those interest rates. We are trying to beat interest, and this is the reason why the HELOC play works. Because when you buy a house, let's say you buy a house for 300,000, and let's say, and then after you're done paying the home off, now what interest does is they make an extra almost 300K just off of interest because the bank's got to make money. That's how they're making their money off that interest. So if you can pay off the interest, beat the interest, or I should say, not pay off the interest, but beat the interest and get straight to the principal value, what you're going to do is essentially pay this house off. Instead of a 30-year fixed mortgage, you're going to pay the house off in 5 to 10 years. And if you are making monthly, cash flow from other endeavors, not just your 9 to 5, it works for people who have 9 to 5. This works for the average man, average Joe, average woman. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be well off. You just need to be financially disciplined, and you need to make sure that you're paying attention to the market, see what interest rates are, and know when this is the best time to execute. If you have these things that I'm talking about in place, you'll be fine. So let's run it back. Equity, 15 to 20%. Credit score is 680 because they're going to look at it. Remember, it's a credit card. A HELOC is a credit card. Don't think of it as a second mortgage because that might scare you. And a lot of people want to hear, like, well, you're going to take out a mortgage. No, you're going to take out a line of credit. You're going to leverage it. And you're going to do this method until you have all of that paid down to the point. And guess what? I'm gonna explain that after. So we said credit score. Then you need to have a positive monthly cash flow. If you're not, then try to do some extra gigs, anything that you can to bring in extra cash. Financially disciplined, and you need to understand the interest rate. So step by step strategy, and I'm gonna run an example right now because a lot of people are gonna run this video back and they're not gonna understand. So if you open a home equity line of credit, make sure you get the best rate in terms. So if you have a personal bank that you go to, if you have a credit union, or do your research, credit, I'm pretty sure they can. They're a banking financial institution. Talk to them, tell them you have 20% equity in your home and you would like to take it out. They don't have to know what it's for. Um, you're going to use a good amount. So let's say you have $50,000 worth of equity in your home. You might only use 20. So let's say you only use $20,000 of that equity, right? You're going to pay down the monthly, you're going to pay down the mortgage principal. Then you're going to deposit your entire paycheck. So if you're working a 9 to 5, or if you're self-employed, you're going to deposit the entire check into the HELOC to reduce the balance. That's going to pay all the monthly expenses from the HELOC. So mortgage, food, bills. So your lifestyle, excuse me, it's going to help you maintain your lifestyle. Now, from that, member, I was telling you, need positive cash flow in order for this to work. That positive cash flow that you have left over, you're going to use that to pay down the HELOC balance. So people are like, wait, so if you use $20,000, now you owe $20,000. But if you're putting your check in, right, guess what that's doing? It's paying down the balance of of the HELOC that you use, of the $20,000. And then when you use the monthly cash flow, it's also beating the interest of that HELOC because HELOCs do have interest. Once the HELOC balance is low, repeat the payment. We keep doing it. So we're gonna do it to the point where it's gonna take you only a couple years to pay off your mortgage. And I'm gonna give you another example. So let's say your mortgage, your house is $300,000. The interest rate is 4.25, and you're under a 30-year fixed mortgage, right? Your monthly payments are 1475. You have a HELOC limit of $50,000, but you're only using $20,000. You are making $6,000 a month. Your expenses are $4,000 a month. So now you only have $2,000 left, or positive cash flow. So you have $2,000. It's actually not bad for a person who's a 9 to 5, a person who is maybe have kids. If they still can have $2,000 in positive cash flow, they're gonna. This method is perfect for you, right? So now that you have that $2,000, right, you're gonna use $20,000 to pay off the mortgage principal. Then you're gonna use that. Let me say this again. You're gonna use the $20,000 to pay off the monthly uh, mortgage principal, not monthly, but the chunk. You're gonna put the whole 20K. Then you're gonna take that $2,000, right? I'm missing a step. You're gonna deposit your check in. So that's $6,000. You're gonna deposit that in. Then that $2,000 that you have left over, what you're gonna do is you're gonna put that into the HELOC. So the HELOC pays the mortgage. You pay the HELOC. It's literally a circle. It's a circle because remember, your HELOC is a basically a credit card. Your mortgage needs to be paid down, right? You owe the bank that. Whatever if you put 20 down on a house, or if you put $50,000 on a house and you got a $300,000 house, the bank could give you a mortgage for what, 250? So you owe that 250. So your goal is to pay in chunks. This is going to take you 10 months. This example, that would take somebody who has $2,000 in surplus cash. Um, they're financially disciplined. This is only going to take them about 10 months to pay that whole $20,000 off, because you owe that $20,000. You're going to beat interest rates. It's going to it's going to be easy the first time. The second time that you do it, you didn't that 250 now is at that $250,000 mortgage now becomes a $230,000 mortgage. Then that becomes a $210,000 mortgage, and then so on and so forth. Mind you, when you pay off that mortgage in chunks, using this HELOC play, aka velocity banking, guess what? Remember in this example, it was the monthly payment was 1475. Oh, best believe that mortgage is going down. It's going down. It's out of here. After a while, it's going to be so easy to maintain. So now instead of that 1475, you might be looking at 1275. The next, 1075. And next, your mortgage is $500 after a couple of years. And your monthly cash flow is going up. If you're maintaining your job and you haven't got laid off, life happens. A lot of things happen. So that's why we need to not just rely on our 9 to 5. We need to find other ways to make money. Look at my first video about having how to create a trust fund, baby. It's a reason why we want to leave things to our kids and not let them inherit any debt. We want to give our house to our kids who are educated, who we've been spending time with, financially um, teaching, teaching them about personal finance. By all means. In my first video, I said if whatever you learn late, you can teach your kids early. You can teach your kids. All right. Don't ever think that it's too late. Oh, I made so many mistakes. Your mistakes are things that they can learn from. Whatever you learn now, and you're like, yeah, I wish I would have done that. It doesn't matter. Sit down with them, teach them. So when they get that house, they maintain it. Next thing you know, that house is in generations. It's been through 3 or 4 generations. Now it went from a $300,000 house and it's worth $2.5 million by the time it gets to the third generation. All right. So the HELOC play, velocity banking, very easy, very simple. Run it back. I'll run the steps back with you. So you'd have at least 15 to 20% in equity. Secondly, you need at least a 680 credit score. If you can get something lower, hey, cool, no problem. Just make sure you're going to a financial institution that you have a personal relationship with. I believe a credit union is a go-to. You go to Bank of America, maybe you know somebody, or, but it might be a little bit harder. Third, you, I got my notes. Third, you need positive cash flow. You need to have money left over after paying your bills. Then you need to be, step four, you need to be financially disciplined because if you can take that cash flow and put it into that HELOC, you're going to do this rinse and repeat method for some time. And it's going to be easy to pay off your home. But if you feel like you got to go out, take $20, $40 one time out of the month. Sacrifice. Go out one time out of the month. You don't have to keep going out every day, every week. Like if you're alcoholic, get help. If you're on drugs, get help. Because obviously we know you're not gonna be financially disciplined. You're gonna be spending your money on these things to support your habit. You like Jordan says, this about right? After that, you need to understand that the interest rates on the HELOC are going to vary. All right. So go get a HELOC. If you can qualify for it, you're going to take whatever you got out of that HELOC and you're going to put it towards your your principal balance. And then you're going to deposit your check that you get from your job into the HELOC. And then that extra cash you're going to you're going to use to pay off the HELOC's balance. So it's literally a circle. You're cycling the money in a circle. All right? It's pretty simple. This reduce the balance. You also will be paying less when it comes to mortgage. All right, you'll be a lot happier. That $2,000 will now turn into $3,000 that you have extra every month. Then let's say you done shaved off maybe 2 years off your mortgage, maybe 5 years. Now you can take that money and you can start a business to generate more cash flow. Now you're making $10,000, making $16,000, $15,000 run to play. Keep running it. Let that credit score keep going up. Take out as much as you can, and be wise. Don't take out that HELOC money and go buy a new car. You can, but guess what? I'm gonna play. All right, that's your boy, Billionaire Chase. Make sure you follow me on all platforms. I'm on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and that's it right now. No other platform. But I thank you guys. I'm trying to give you guys valuable information. This play was not broken down. And maybe it has been broken down to some people, but I know Myron is very witty, fast talking, fast thinker. He's a genius at what he does. And a lot of people are like, huh? Mind you, that video that he spoke about got like 10 million views. Because there are people who want to pay down their mortgages. There are a lot of people who are struggling, and but they have monthly cash flow. They have good credit. They have decent credit, but they don't know how to run the play. And you got to learn how to leverage credit. If you are utilizing your cash, you are not financially stable. Rich people don't use their cash. They use credit. They leverage it. So I'm gonna drop another video. Make sure you go check out my first video. Every video will tie into each other. It will show you how to structure it will show you how to structure everything so that you can have a more stress free life. At first you gotta give it to God, stress-free life. Give it to him. Come see me after you done had your talk with the Lord, and then I'm gonna show you how to get it done. So we're in a different setting. I know you guys see me in my movie theaters, but we're in a different setting. I tried to make it a little bit easier. A lot of my equipment is in here, so it makes it easier to set up. So I was just like, I don't feel like moving everything. I like to change the scenery because sometimes it captures your attention. Because if you know that I'm doing good, you know that the information that I'm giving you, I'm teaching through experience. All right, God bless you guys. I'm gonna keep praying. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to message me. I'm always here to answer any questions to the best of my ability. But I want you to do your research and never take my word. All right. God bless you. Peace.